Hi everyone, welcome to today's tutorial, and today I will be covering two tools, namely the clone stamp tool and the pattern stamp tool. Now these two tools, even though they sound the same, but they have two very different functions. So I'm going to show you how these two tools can be used, right? So I'll be starting first with the clone stamp tool, and it's right here, this one. This is the clone stamp tool. Right. So what the clone stamp tool does is that it's one of the tools to help you remove a particular object from your image. And it's super easy to do. Right. So as you can see that I have activated my clone stamp tool from here and my brush size is 30. Is 300 pixels. Right. So what I'm going to do is that I'm going to, like for example, I want to remove this thread and this tag from this entire image. Right. So how will I do that? So I will be using this clone stamp tool. What I am going to do is that I'm going to click on Alt and my cursor gets changed like this, and I'm going to just select the background like this once. And as you can see that if I move my mouse on top of this thread over here, you can see the background pattern is coming in the brush like this, right? So very carefully I will now remove my I will remove the tag like this. So do you notice this plus sign right here on top of my brush in this white color? So what this brush does is that it's actually taking the samples of the background like this, and it's helping me remove my thread like this, right? So you have to be extremely careful so that you can easily remove it like this. It can be a little tricky, right? So as you can see, it is a little tricky to actually use the tool like this, right? So it will take a little time, but you get the gist and you can see how you can use the brush, this clone stamp tool, to remove like that. Okay. So I will attempt on removing this portion as well. So I'm going to just play around with the brush tool, the brush size as well. Like this. It is a little tricky, so okay, got rid of this. I'm going to increase my brush size. Like that. Okay, now it's done. And there you go. So now you can see that with the help of the clone stamp tool, I have removed the thread and the tag like this. Right? So as you can see, it was that easy, but you need a lot of patience and you need a little practice to adjust the brush size so that you can remove the necessary or the unnecessary parts from your image like that. So now coming on to the second tool, which is called the pattern stamp tool. Right. So as the name suggests, this tool will actually help you to make seamless textures or patterns in your document. Right. So first thing, I'm going to create a new document right now. So I'm going to let the document size be 1000 by 1000 pixels, and I'm just going to rename this document to be pattern stamp tool, and I'm going to click on create. Okay. So over here, I'm going to select my pattern stamp tool like this, and I'm also going to decrease the brush size a little. Okay. So I'm just going to remove this for now. Okay. So I'm going to show you one demo, right? So one of the demos is that, as you can see, there are some preloaded designs right here. So I'm going to select this one for example, right? And I have my pattern stamp tool selected. So if I move my brush around like this onto my document, you can see how easily this tool, this pattern stamp tool, has been used to create this seamless texture on my document like that and like this, right? So as you can see, it's that easy. So for example, I want this image to be used as a pattern to be applied over here on this document, right? So it's again really easy as well. But first I will be resizing this image a little bit because this image size is really big. So I'll go to image and I'll go over here to image size and I'll make sure that my dimensions are in pixels and I'm going to change the width to 600 like this and the height is going to be of 400 pixels and the width is going to be 600 pixels and I'm going to click on OK. So as you can see, it gets resized like this. And now I'm going to go to edit and select this option which says define pattern. And I'm going to let the define pattern name be recycling newspapers because that's the name of the file that I have opened, like of this image. So, but you can rename it whatever you want to, but I'm going to let it stay the way it is and I'm going to click on OK. So because once that happens, you can see that this pattern then comes over here automatically, right? So I'm going to select this, right? Making sure that I'm in my pattern stamp tool. Also over here, this mode, I'm going to let it be normal and the opacity and the flow both are going to be 100%. So now if you just brush it across my document like this, you can see how easily that the pattern stamp tool uses this image as a pattern and then it's used to create seamless texture or multiple patterns or multiple copies of the same image over here as a pattern itself. So there you go. It was that easy. So you can use this pattern stamp tool to replicate or make different kinds of textures by using different images as well. So that's about it. So this was the pattern stamp tool and the clone stamp tool. And as you can see that even though that the names are quite similar to each other, these two tools have two very different functions of its own. So that's about it. I have covered in brief and I hope you found this video to be useful and with a little practice you will soon get the hang of the clone stamp tool and the pattern stamp tool. So thank you for watching and stay tuned for more.